In this video, we'll investigate the war with Mexico, as well as the movement of American settlers to occupy the territory between the Atlantic and the Pacific Oceans, and to complete Manifest Destiny. President Polk was elected as an expansionist, and so he was very concerned with gaining territory for the United States. He's elected promising to expand the country. Once he's elected in 1844, as can be seen here by looking at the map, you can see the Electoral College results. The green states are showing where President Polk clearly won, and the purple states are states where Henry Clay had actually won. But he wasted no time in expanding the United States, and he believed that a war with Mexico would allow him to claim areas currently present-day Arizona, New Mexico, and California as well. General Santa Anna was replaced as Mexico's president, and President Polk sends a man named John Slidell to Mexico City to offer to buy the land north and west of the Rio Grande. Mexican officials refuse to see him, and they do not want to sell the land. So President Polk is going to send General Zachary Taylor to invade Mexico, having him cross the Rio Grande and making sure that the Mexicans knew what he was doing. When Mexico reacted to the invasion, Polk and Congress declared war. Although most Americans backed the idea of expansion, not everyone was happy about how aggressive President Polk was about adding territory to the United States. Sectional differences are going to begin to arise. And remember, sectionalism is loyalty to local interests or region rather than a nationalistic or more loyalty to the entire country sort of idea. The North viewed expansion as a way to increase slavery. Slave states and add pro-slavery senators in Congress, so the North was a little leery about expanding as well. The South wanted additional farmland and congressional seats, and so they really did want to expand into new territories to be able to spread slavery and gain more power in Congress. General Taylor invades Mexico by moving through Texas. General Kearny invades Mexico by going through South California. And General Fremont invades Mexico in Northern California. So there was a three-front invasion by the United States into Mexican territory. California fell and became what was called the Bear Flag Republic, as it becomes an independent territory free from Mexico. Generals Grant and Lee, who we'll talk about when we get to the Civil War, actually fought in Mexico under General Winfield Scott. So this is a war that is going to create a lot of American heroes that we're going to continue to see repeatedly being involved in events all the way up until and including the Civil War. Mexico will fall after a failed attempt to restore Santa Anna, and so the United States will win the war with Mexico. Mexico will be forced to sign what's called the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo, which is the treaty that formally ends the war with Mexico, and now territory is going to be exchanged. It gave the United States the present-day states of Utah, Arizona, New Mexico, and California, and these will be discussed going forward as the territory gained from Mexico. Natives were promised some freedoms, but they did not always receive the freedoms that they were promised by the Americans. President Pierce also at that point, following the gaining of this territory, signs what's called the Gadsden Purchase. And basically, they gave Mexico $10 million for land that really wasn't for sale, but that would finish off the border and show the border between Mexico and the United States that is presently our border. So the new southern border is how you see it today. So looking at the map that you see here, you can clearly see how the United States has grown from 1783 and the American Revolution to the war with Mexico. You have in green here where the area that was gained by the United States and the country as it looked in 1783. Then you have the Louisiana Purchase, which was purchased from France in 1803. Next comes the Florida Cession, or actually this small area that's ceded by Great Britain in the Convention of 1818 to finish off the Canadian border up here. Then the Florida Cession, which is a treaty with Spain in 1819, followed by Texas annexation, which is following Texas becoming its own republic. Then, after the Mexican War, we have the Mexican Cession, which is the land gained by the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo, and then the Oregon Country, which was gained by an agreement with Great Britain in 1846. The small little area from the Gadsden Purchase that we just talked about is this small purple area here that we paid $10 million for in 1853. And when you get into U.S. 2 and later on in U.S. 1, we'll talk about Alaska and how the United States gained that, and Hawaii when that was annexed as well. But basically, this is the continental United States that you see today. The Gadsden Purchase, remember, was purchased for $10 million, which was actually not as good of a deal as the Louisiana Purchase, which we purchased for actually $15 million. So we definitely got a better real estate deal when it came to the Louisiana Purchase. The next thing that we're going to talk about is the gold rush into California. Gold was discovered at Sutter's Mill outside San Francisco. And once gold was discovered, gold fever hits miners around the world, and people start to come from around the world to be able to mine for gold. The population of California, as a result, is going to increase very quickly to over 100,000 people. People are going to arrive from areas in America, in China, in Japan, and from Europe. So they actually really do come from all over the world. Most settlers did not get rich from gold, but a lot of merchants who moved to the California area and farmers who moved there to be able to provide crops for the people that were mining and started businesses to be able to cater to the people that were just searching for gold, made California and found it very profitable and were able to start very solid businesses as a result. California, as a result of its massive population increase and how quickly it increased, immediately applies for admission into the Union. The South becomes outraged at the thought of allowing another free state into the United States. But California will be admitted into the Union in 1850 under what's called the Compromise of 1850. And we're going to talk more about the Compromise of 1850 in our next chapter and in class as well as we move forward towards the Civil War.